Are we live? Let's see. Going live. All right. All right. So it says I'm live again. Thank you guys for your patience. Steve, thanks for the humor. Waiting for class to start with the laughing emoji. I appreciate it. So thanks, Shadrach. If you can hit the like button on your way back in, and let's try this again. If you guys can let me know if you can see me, hear me, everything's looking all right. And we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into our topic today of how to make your wife happy. 3 facts men need to know. And just waiting in the chat just to make sure coming through a little bit better and that you guys can hear me. Okay, sounds good. Awesome. Thank you, Quantum Thoughts. So the lag seems fixed, still a little blurry. Go with it. Yep, I'm going with it, guys. I'm going with it. So we're going to get started. So as always, I like to give a reminder that my channel is for women married to good men. And if you need to know what a good man is and how I define good man and why I use that phrase so often, go check out one of my first live episodes. What is a good man? So if you're confused on that, please go see that and watch that. And my channel is also for good men married to women and confused on how to handle the dynamics of always feeling wrong, shamed that you are not enough, and not knowing how to navigate that relationship with your wife or a woman in a healthy way. So my channel is not meant for extreme dysfunctional relationships, physically abusive relationships. If you are with a bad boy, ladies, my channel is not for you. My message is not for you. But what I believe and know from the many, many, many women that I've worked with over the past decade and the thousands of women I have spoken to over the past decade, most of us are married to good men. So let's dive in. And ladies, I'm speaking directly to the men today, but I hope that you pay attention because the purpose of this and why I call my channel the Red Pill for Women is for you to be able to wake up to the truth of your woman ways and how you are the problem in your marriage and how you are the problem in your relationships with men. So this is really a follow-up, just giving a little setup before I get into the 3 facts men need to know about how to make your wife happy. Is that this is a follow-up from my show last week where I talked about marriage counseling and why marriage counseling does not work. And I talked a little bit in that episode about the codependency that our culture reinforces and that couples counseling reinforces, that each partner or each spouse in a marriage is responsible for making the other feel loved, good, happy, content, heard, validated, understood, accepted, and that's actually where all of our relationship problems stem from. Because if we are dependent on another person to be that for us, and we don't have that within ourselves and do not provide that to ourselves, that is a codependency model. And we have like popular books like The 5 Love Languages that also books like that reinforce a codependency that our partner is supposed to speak our love language and do the things to make us feel good in the relationship. But for the dynamics between good men and women, it never works. And that's really what we're going to dive deep into today of why that doesn't work with a woman. And that it's really, really important for both men and women to understand that the only person you have any control over to change is yourself, which means even though you are in a partnership, you have no control over how the other person feels or experiences themselves, whether they are fulfilled, content, or have meaning and purpose, and they have no control over you to feel those things. That those are things that we have to provide ourselves, that we're responsible for our own fulfillment, our own sense of being content in ourselves and in our lives. And if we need someone else to give us those things to make us feel understood, heard, accepted, validated, it means we're not giving that to ourselves. And that's why we want someone else to give it to us. What's counterintuitive and what I experience in my marriage and my relationship with my husband is that it was only when I learned to be happy, to have a healthy relationship with myself, to provide the things to me that I always wanted another, specifically a man and my husband, to provide to me. It was only when I found that within myself that, one, I could be a true partner and that I could see and appreciate all the amazing ways that my husband showed up for me in his thoughtfulness, his caring ways, his generosity, his love. As a woman, I couldn't experience any of those things from him. All I could see in my husband were the very ways in which I felt bad about myself, that I did not care for myself, did not feel good about myself or in me and who I was. So all I could see were the things that I thought my husband was doing wrong to make me have the insecurities and doubts and negative feelings that I had within myself and in the relationship. So when I became happy, that's when my husband and I began to have a true dance and a true partnership and be able to care for each other and give the healthy parts of a relationship, of being thoughtful and loving and showing affection and appreciation. And I had to go first, because here is the fascinating difference between women and good men. Good men freely, because of the nature of who they are thoughtful, caring, hardworking, responsible by nature. Doesn't mean they don't have issues or problems or things that come up, but the nature of who they are is to give freely in the relationship all the healthy parts of a relationship: respect, appreciation, love, fun, because that's the natural makeup of who they are. And as women, because of our unhappiness in ourselves, because of the poor relationship we have with ourselves, we are selfish, we're emotionally disconnected, we live in an internal emotional storm and chaos of being worried, fearful, insecure, doubting, not able to make a choice, second guessing. That's our internal state we live in, which makes us very self-centered in the relationship. We do not give freely. And when we say we do as women and we lay out the laundry list of the things we say we do for our husband in the marriage, it comes from a manipulative place with ulterior motives, because we're trying to get that emptiness in us filled from our husband. We don't give freely. And we can know that because of the Rolodex we keep of the wrongs we feel our husband has done against us. When we show up and do all these things for them, we keep a scorecard. And that's how we can know we don't give freely. When you experience your husband withdrawing from the relationship and you perceive him as shut down, ignoring you, not engaged in the relationship, it is a result of how we have pushed them away with our walls and how we have blamed them for our unhappiness. Eventually, a good man pulls away and withdraws, because that's the effect of our constant emasculation of them, making them wrong and bad for who they are and blaming them for our unhappiness. So now that I've told you all of that, and that perspective on relationships and happiness and our responsibility to fulfill ourselves in the relationship and then be a good partner, is, let me tell you how to make your wife happy. And of course, you guys know me too well by now to know we're going somewhere different. I'm not going to tell you how to make your wife happy, because the first fact that you need to know is that you cannot make your wife happy. It is really, really, really important for men to understand. You cannot make your wife happy. If your wife is not happy in herself, which is synonymous with emotional stability, with feeling good about who she is, being secure in herself, independent of you and her external world. If she is not happy in herself, there is nothing you can do that will make her happy, either in herself or in the marriage or relationship. And what you can know based on what I talked about in setting this up in the introduction is that if she's asking you to do the things to make her feel understood, to make her feel appreciated, to make her feel validated, wanted, desired, two things. One, it means she's codependent if she's asking those things of you, that she doesn't know how to find those things within herself. And number two, it means she doesn't have it in herself to begin with. And if she doesn't have it in herself to begin with, there's nothing you can do for her to experience that and have that within herself in a permanent way. It's like as women, we are an empty bucket with holes. And so nothing you do sticks, nothing you do permanently fills the bucket because she doesn't know those things herself. She's not that for herself. What's ironic is when you ask a good man what he wants to do in the marriage or relationship, and I hear this all the time in the men I speak with and the men who come through my course, is they just want to make their wife happy. Even the men who work with me and come through my course that have listened to my videos, resonate with what I'm teaching, they still come into my course to learn to take their power back, to build their strength and confidence as a man again that's been stripped away from them in the marriage by their wife. And most of them are still coming from a place of, I'm doing this because I want to try to be a good husband and make my wife happy. You have to learn that you can't. But that's what a good man wants to do, which to me and what I see and understand is that a good man's desire to make his wife happy and try to do the things to make her happy shows his natural state and ability to be happy in himself. That a man is generally, and how I define happiness, emotional stability, being in life to grow and learn, becoming and evolving into the best version of yourself so that you do feel fulfilled and content, being able to problem solve and have a healthy outlook on the challenges and adversity of life. That's a good man's nature, which is why he knows that he wants to make his wife happy. And if she was happy, everything would be good. But as women, we are fundamentally unhappy. We're fundamentally wired of being insecure in ourselves and looking to our external world to show us who we are and to provide those things to ourselves that we're not willing to do for ourselves. And for the women listening who say, my husband's not happy, or even the men listening saying, I'm not happy. Here's my perspective. So when women see their husband as just depressed, withdrawn, no zest for life or a shell of himself, or angry, and that's what a woman is seeing in her husband, ladies, we need to know that's the effect in the marriage of our walls, our selfishness, how we withhold from our husbands, how we've disengaged from sex, and our emasculation of them, making them bad and wrong for who they are. That in my belief and understanding and what I've seen and in my experience, when good men are depressed, when they're depleted in life, or they're withdrawn or emotionally unavailable or emotionally shut down, that's not the nature of who they are. It's an effect of the emasculation of how they are made to be bad and wrong and doubting who they are. And it happens in his marriage. And I think the reason that we see the levels of depression in men in our culture, the high levels of suicide rate, is a result of men being emasculated, either by their wives, their mothers, and then culturally. It's everywhere. Culturally, men are constantly belittled. They're constantly made fun of, dismissed, and made wrong for who they are and blamed for so many problems in our culture. And that message gets reinforced by the Me Too movement. It gets reinforced by feminism. It gets reinforced in the workplace. It gets reinforced in the movies and the shows that we watch on TV. It's everywhere. And I believe that's why good men are faced with the levels of depression and mental health issues and suicide rates that we see today. And that if men were respected for who they are, if we saw the goodness in them and we treated them with kindness, they would be in their natural state of feeling good and confident in who they are. What we see when a good man is depressed is the effect of the emasculation. So men, you have to know if you cannot make your wife happy, you have to retire. You have to retire from trying to make her happy. And all you have to do is look at the reality of your marriage and your relationship and all the things you've done to try to make your wife happy and how she still finds fault. She still makes you wrong. And she has a perpetual, never ending list. Once you do one thing, then it's another thing you need to do or stop doing. That she's constantly finding fault and constantly finding more that she needs from you to feel secure and happy in the relationship. That's the result of the empty bucket of our own unhappiness and our own emptiness within ourselves. And the more you try to make her happy, the less respect that she ends up having for you because she knows that she can make you wrong. She knows she can blame you and keep you on this treadmill of trying to do things to make her happy and never getting anywhere. And it doesn't mean that you mistreat her or you stop being the good man that you are and doing the things you enjoy doing for her, but you do it as an expression of who you are as a good man, not under the delusion and cognitive dissonance that if you do the things she asks or stop doing the things she asks, thinking that will make her happy, that you realize it's not going to work. She's not going to be in a good mood, or if she is, it's going to be temporary. That you're not going to get lucky, or if you do, it'll be a one-off, and she'll go right back to where she was and then looking for more things that she wants you to do. So that leads us in to the second fact that men need to know. And again, women, the women that are listening, this is for you to see as well, even though I'm talking directly to the men today. This is something that all of these things are discoveries I had to make within myself to begin to stop the crazy making and the false reality I lived in my marriage, thinking my husband was somehow responsible to make me happy. So the second fact that men need to know is that you, and this to me is almost more important than you cannot make your wife happy. Because for some men, they're seeing that. But if you don't get the second piece, you'll still fall in the trap of trying to do things to make her happy. So the second fact men need to know is you are not the source of your wife's unhappiness. You are not the source of your wife's unhappiness. So far today, we've learned that if your wife believes that you need to do things to make her happy, and all the things you've tried to do haven't worked to make her happy, and she blames you for her unhappiness, that means she is unhappy. If all the things you've done to try to make her happy, or all the things you've stopped doing to try to make her happy, and she's still unhappy, that is telling you she is unhappy, just in herself, independent of the relationship. She is unhappy. If your wife was happy, she would be happy with you. If your wife was happy, she would be happy with you and just how you are and the things that you do. And she would appreciate your style of showing how you care, your style of your thoughtfulness and generosity and being a good husband and a kind, loving partner. Because happy women have happy marriages. When they are happy within themselves, that's the lens that then they see the relationship. So what this means is you can know your wife is unhappy because she is unhappy with you. This is really important. I want this to sink in, which I'm slowing down and repeating this so you can see the simplicity and break out of the brainwashing and the cognitive dissonance of believing that you have somehow made your wife unhappy. You know your wife is unhappy because she is unhappy with you, which means you are not the source of her unhappiness. It is so important to understand that because it's the brainwashing and the effects of how the process of emasculation works that your wife has convinced you that you are the problem in her unhappiness. And the emasculation works on good men, that you believe she's somehow correct in her gaslighting of you because of all the faults that she finds. And she is so convincing. We're so convincing when we are critical and we constantly point out your faults that you can say and look, well, I do those things that she's pointing out. So I must be the problem in her unhappiness. And you fall unknowingly. You unknowingly fall for that brainwashing. And the more you think that she is right and she must be right in what she's finding fault in you for, the worse you feel as a man. That is the emasculation process. That then leads to you questioning your perception of reality, doubting who you are, doubting your good qualities. And so you have to know she's unhappy no matter what you do because she continues to find fault. She continues to find the things she thinks you are doing wrong. And then you get sucked in to believing that she is right. And good men will then double down on trying to do the things that you think will make her happy until eventually you throw your hands up. You give up because the emasculation and her continual blame on you pushes you to that point to withdraw and emotionally shut down in the relationship. And we're going to get to a solution regardless of if your wife changes or not, so stay with me. But what this means and what I'm talking about in the second fact leads us to the third fact that you need to know of why you can't make your wife happy. Your wife was not happy when you met her. Your wife was not happy when you met her. My husband wondered. The comments from men I see in my videos, the men I speak with, are so confused and feel the bait and switch from their wife of where did she go? Where did the woman that I met go? If I could just even have 10% of her back, I would be so happy. That's how simple and loving men are, that they will just take breadcrumbs. But they're wondering, where'd she go? She used to be fun. She was spontaneous. She was happy. She was fun to be around. And then for some men, it ends on the honeymoon. I can't tell you the amount of men that I've talked to or the comments I have read that first night we were married, it was just like, whew, the woman I knew was gone. And then here was this new woman, rigid, controlling, walled off. Or some women can carry on the facade a little longer. It just depends. But eventually, the facade becomes too tiring and draining for us as women to keep up, and it comes down. And so the reason you can know your wife wasn't happy when you met her, even though she seemed very happy and bubbly and lighthearted and fun, is that for us as women, getting married, meeting a man and getting married is the next thing in our pursuit of happiness. Because we're not taught as humans, we're not taught as women how to cultivate our internal happiness and sense of being content and fulfilled. We default into our human nature looking for happiness outside of us, even though we've all been told and heard 1,000 times that no one and no thing can make us happy, that it's something we have to provide for ourselves. We've never been taught how to do that. So we fall again into the default mode of looking for happiness outside of us. So your wife getting married to you was the next checkbox of what she thought would make her happy in life, which is another way to know that she wasn't happy when you met her. And that's why you felt there was a bait and switch. And all of a sudden you see this different woman. And we will often create a story. This is what I talked about last time or last week in my show. We'll create a story where all of a sudden out of nowhere, our past traumas come up and these things that have happened to us in our childhood. And then, of course, all the ways we blame you. But the truth is that unhappiness, the selfishness, the walls were all there before. We just had it covered up. And we played the game of being happy and fun and loving. And then our true colors came out. And again, the emasculation believed that it's made you believe it's your fault that she changed. And it's something you did or stopped doing. That now she's unhappy and cold and distant and withholding. But it's actually the foundation of her unhappiness that was there when you first met. And some men are married to what I call happy pill women. I was a happy pill woman, and it's not an actual pill. It is the facade we wear that we're light, we're easygoing, we see the positive, we're gentle natured, we don't get upset easily. We can be upset and keep a very calm face. And so I'll talk with men that say, I resonate with a lot of what you say in your videos and in your message, but my wife is she's really kind and very giving to others. She's easygoing. She'll follow my lead, but then they'll have all these other things going on but she does nitpick at me and try to change things about me. We haven't had sex in 6 months, a year or longer, or when we do have sex, it feels like she's doing it as a checklist. Or she won't let me touch her. She hardly shows physical affection. Men, those are your number one signs that your wife is covert in all the things I talk about, and that she is actually unhappy in herself and doesn't have a healthy relationship with herself. And you can know that if she's withholding sex or disengaged with sex or withholding affection and physical touch, that is your number one sign that everything I am talking about is what you are experiencing in your marriage. So those are the 3 facts men need to know about why you can't actually make your wife happy. Is 1, there is nothing you can do to make your wife happy if she is not happy in herself. Number 2, really, really important, you are not the source of her unhappiness. And number 3, she was unhappy when you met her. And so you might be thinking, well, Karen, what do I do with all of this? Because everything I share, it can be kind of heavy, and it can wake men up to the reality of what's really going on with us as women. And you can get stuck and feeling angry or completely crushed, which is very understandable. But the solution in this, and why it's important that both women and men see the truth of our women ways, is that the solution is you have to wake up to the reality of what's really going on, to know, 1, that nothing you can do will make her happy, and 2, you are not the source of her unhappiness. And the purpose of seeing those 2 truths and seeing the reality of being married to a woman is you still maintain being a good man and being who you are as a good man in your marriage. But you can stop believing and get out of the cognitive dissonance, get out of the brainwashing, out of the emasculation, to stop believing what she's telling you will make her happy, so that you don't get sucked into the vortex of believing you are the problem, because that's what we as women make you believe in our own unhappiness. So you don't withdraw or get angry, because that gives her more ammo to build the case against you. And as a good man, when you withdraw and you get angry and you stay in that place, it makes you feel bad about yourself because you're going against the nature of who you are. And it makes you powerless to your wife. So you maintain who you are as a good man for the benefit of yourself, to feel good about yourself and fulfilled and content in yourself, regardless of who your wife is, if you are choosing to stay, because many good men choose to stay. And you have to know you didn't marry the wrong woman. You just married a woman. And as I often say, as women, we all have these patterns and behaviors on a spectrum. Some of you have women on the low end of the spectrum, some on the high, most somewhere in the middle. And when you stop and you retire from making her happy, and you learn to say no, she may actually begin to respect you. When you learn to say no, again, you maintain being the good man that you are, and you do the things that you want to do, that you like to give to the relationship and your wife. But when your wife comes to you and says, you're doing this and it's making me unhappy, or you going and playing golf with your friends, or you going and playing cards with your friends, or you playing video games, or you watching sports, or you not unloading the dishwasher and helping me out with my household responsibilities makes me unhappy. I need you to start doing X, Y, and Z. Learn to say no in a respectful, responsible way, as in just in who you are. And it might sound something like, first, you always want to validate. I understand you feel this way, but I'm not responsible for you feeling this way. And I'm not responsible for your happiness. So the answer is no. I love you very much, but the answer is no. I'm not going to do that, because I've done all these other things and it doesn't make you happy. It is your responsibility to make yourself happy. I'm retiring from trying to make you happy. You can actually say that. And then you have to be prepared, because she's going to act like a child. She's going to have a full-blown temper tantrum. And then you have to kind of treat her like a child. Okay, figure it out. I'm gonna go now. And you let her have the temper tantrum, and that temper tantrum is your confirmation that this is her problem, not yours. The reason she's having the temper tantrum, just like children have the temper tantrum, is because you're holding her accountable and you're backing her into a corner that she can't deny. And her only defense is to get emotional. And she will tell you how awful you are, or might, depending on kind of where on the spectrum of these woman ways she is. And the more you stay grounded in knowing who you are and the reasonableness of who you are as a good man and the things you have done to show up in the relationship, how much you want the relationship to work and have tried to do everything you know to do to make that happen. When you stay grounded in that, in the face of whatever she throws at you, and holding those boundaries and saying no, that's where you regain your strength and confidence in the relationship. And no matter what she does to try to make you believe you're the problem, it doesn't work anymore. And that's how you're in control of your experience in the relationship, knowing you cannot control your wife. The solution for women to stop these behaviors, to stop blaming our husband for our unhappiness, to stop putting the responsibility on them to try to make us happy, has been the journey that I've taken, and that I work with other women and teach other women, which is learning how to be happy, just learning to be emotionally stable within ourselves. It's learning to be in control. It's learning to make choices and decisions that allow us to build our integrity and character, to feel good about who we are, and having a healthy relationship with ourselves to resolve our insecurities and find our confidence. And when we do that for ourselves, ladies, that's where we feel validated, appreciated, loved, wanted, because it's coming from within ourselves. And the good man you married is right there waiting for you. That when you're filling that emptiness within yourself and giving yourself all the things you always wanted your husband or a man to provide to you, and you're married to a good man, it's from that place then you see all the ways he shows up, all the ways that he is caring, thoughtful, loving, appreciative of you, that you've been blind to in your own unhappiness and your own unhealthy relationship with yourself. And that's the solution for women. So if either men or women want support in the different paths that I teach men and the path that I teach women, then please consider having a consultation with me to take my marriage course for men or my happiness course for women. And you can find the link below. My calendar is very full right now, so I've started a wait list. So if you don't see a time available, then you can fill out a form and I'll put you on a wait list so that we can have a conversation and see if one of my courses is a good fit for you. For the women and men, if you want to share this with your wife, there's also a link below to my Happiness 101 course for women. It's a free course. It's just a short 45-minute mini course to really understand the ins and outs of our unhappiness as women and what it takes to really be happy and have that healthy relationship with ourselves. So you can find those links below. I'm also still finding my consistency in it, but I'm starting to post on X, formerly known as Twitter. So if you guys are on X, you can come follow me over there. Oh, and please remember to like this video, consider subscribing if you haven't already. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I'm going to take a quick peek in the chat. Hopefully this came out all right in terms of the tech. Like I said, I'm working with something new today. So just part of the growth and journey on YouTube. And thank you guys so much for your continued support of the channel. I think we just got over 63,000 subscribers today. And I just so humbled, feel so blessed to have such an amazing audience and my message resonating with so many people. Is there, so I'm just reading what comes up first. Is there any way to tell the difference between genuinely incurable NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder, and this behavior that results from walls being up? That's a really good question, and one that I think would probably be best discussed in a full video, because what I do talk about, and this has come up, I've seen in the comments, yeah, what I'm talking about as women is we are narcissists. The emasculation, how we treat men is a result of that self-centeredness and also deep inadequacy that we have within ourselves that we project onto our husbands, project onto men. But very few people, the last statistic I saw was like 1%, and that might be different between men and women. I'd have to do a little more homework, but it's something like 1% of the population has like the mental illness of narcissistic personality disorder. Um, the women I work with are like me, where I didn't have another way. I was stuck in the never-ending loop of therapy and all the books I was reading and woo-woo stuff I was doing to try to figure myself out, and none of it worked. And then I was very blessed to find a different path to recognize I was the problem, which snapped me out of my narcissistic tendencies so that I could change. I will say somebody with NPD would never, ever, ever be open to wanting to look at themselves if they're not capable of that in general. So they wouldn't be drawn to my message and would be very, very upset with my message. But that's not a clear indicator. So thank you for the question. I'm going to spend some more time thinking on that and how I could present that in a video, because that's really good. Oh, thanks, Quantum Thoughts. Gold content as always. Thank you. And thanks, Rudy. Thank you for your generosity. You're welcome. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Robert. Thank you for helping me find out that I'm not crazy and that it's not my fault. You are welcome. I'd say that's one of the biggest how do I want to put it? I guess why I'm so grateful to have this message. Here we go, gonna get teary. Uh, one of the reasons I'm so grateful to have this message and this platform to share these things is so that good men know you are not crazy. Because I know what I did and can see and have remorse for my past behaviors and who I was in my marriage. I'm so grateful I found this so early in my marriage so I can have the relationship I have with my husband now. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And I know how crazy I made him feel and men that I was with before him, my dad, that to be able to give that gift back and to advocate for men that you are not crazy is really important to me. So I'm really grateful that that's coming through and that good men are seeing that. Because you're not crazy at all. It's happening. So let's see. Any other quick questions down here? Good question. That's a good question. It's a can of worms. And I have a video on it. Should men get married? In my opinion, we're gonna go here for a second. In my opinion, if a man has been married and he's learned and grown from it and realized that that's not the path for him, then he needs to honor that. Or if a man has dated and been in relationships with women and he's not drawn to marriage, then he should honor that. It's the same as that running a business and owning a business is not for everyone. College is not for everyone. Having children is not for everyone. Getting married is not for everyone. So there's no basis in reality for a man or a woman that getting married is going to make you happy, or any basis in reality that it's going to make you unhappy, because both of those are an internal experience. And just as, well, let me finish that thought. So if it is important to a man, that is something he wants to experience in his life, that he wants to have children, that he wants to grow and learn from the experience of marriage, then I believe, yes, that men should get married if that's what's important to them. I am pro marriage. I think marriage is an incredible place to grow and learn about ourselves and life and to challenge ourselves and to learn who we are. To me, that's what I see as the purpose of marriage for both men and women, and how we go about that to learn and grow, and it looks different. That being said, just like when you decide you want to open a business and you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to do your homework, because the truth is most businesses fail. So you have to do your homework. You have to be prepared for the ups and downs, the challenges, the unfairness, the injustices that come along. So just as you have to prepare for that, men have to prepare. If they want to get married, they have to do their homework. They need to do their homework on the laws. They need to do their homework on the risks and weigh if that is a risk they are willing to take, and then do what they need to do their due diligence to protect themselves the best they can. And that's my stance. I believe marriage is really important to our society. It's very important to upholding the values of our country. And it is an incredible way to get to know ourselves and to grow and learn. And we can't hide and we can't run from things in life that we are scared of, or have injustices, or have things that are unfair, if that is something that is important to us in life. Otherwise, we're victims. So it's something that's very important to me, that I'm passionate about. Without my marriage, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I know my husband, which we are going to do a video. We are both very, very busy right now with our careers and a move. So we are working. I know I've told you guys we are going to do a video together. But I know my husband will say the same thing, that marriage has been a tremendous place for him to grow as a man and to learn. And the men I've worked with say that too. So that's my 2 cents there. Thanks for the question. So I think that's gonna do for today, guys. I think that's a good place to end. So I do read through the chat later. So thank you guys for being such an engaged audience, and being here and supporting me and supporting my message. I appreciate you so much, and always have fun looking back and reading through the chat. And then if something's there, I will that I think is important, I will often put it in the comments. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. It is a snowy day here in Denver. It's beautiful as I look outside, and I've got some work to do to prepare for a workshop I'm teaching on Monday. So I'm gonna get focused in that and start on that. And I look forward to seeing you all next weekend, next Saturday, same time. So I hope to see you there. Okay, guys. Thanks for your patience too with the tech today. I appreciate it.